Thank you for listening to this episode.
And follow the podcast on social media by finding at Prestigious Pod. And if you'd like to be coached on how to live a more prestigious life, you can reach out to me, Chris Bean, at Chris Bean Official, or by emailing the podcast directly at prestigiousInitiative@gmail.com.
Lastly, sign up for our newsletter either through social media or on our website.
This is the Prestigious Initiative. Welcome. I'm Chris Bean. Today I have a fantastic guest joining us, Traci Bermingham, the founder of Business Alignment Method. Traci, it's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, Traci, can you share with us a little bit about you and kind of what brought you with us today?
Yeah, so I have been a project manager. I think my whole life, right? It's just one of those skill sets that I have, but in official capacity for probably about 25 years. I've worked with a lot of the really big companies in corporate, Visa, Charles Schwab, Del Monte Foods, Banana Republic, Williams Sonoma, The Gap, right? Like all of those really big companies. And then I got married, started having children, and I moved to small town USA where there's no need for corporate project management, anything. So about 15 years ago, I went virtual and went online and started helping small businesses go virtual. And what I found with them is that there are so many entrepreneurs and small business owners who are just working their butts off and they don't stop. And they haven't taken a vacation for 10 years and they are just struggling because they don't have time anymore. Their businesses are going great, but they don't have the time to actually live also, which is usually why they started the business. So with my project management skills, what those have kind of morphed into are just creating the systems and the structures that allow business owners to kind of pull out of their business and be able to work on their business, actually have a life, go on vacation, enjoy their time, and still make a profit and still, have a healthy business happening while they're not 24/7 stuck into their business.
Wow. Well, okay. So let's dive into the concept of business flow. Can you share with our audience what led you to become an expert in business flow and efficiency, and kind of on top of that, what inspired the creation of the business alignment method?
Yeah, so I don't think it needs to be as hard as we make it, right? And it's not our fault because we don't know any better, right? But like the hustle drives me nuts. It doesn't need to be that so hard all of the time. And that's where the flow came in with me, because what I realized is when I get into businesses and when we create those systems and when we create alignment, when your business is aligned, everything just flows and you get into that flow state. And then all of a sudden, getting things done is easy. And it's almost like magic that it just, oh, we finished that. How was that easy when it used to be like pulling teeth trying to get a blog post out the door or, whatever that is. So it's really just aligning your business, smoothing everything out so that everything just flows and that it's simple. Right. So it's creating simplicity in your business and creating flow in your business instead of the constant grind and hustle that we're taught, right? Like you look at entrepreneur, hustle is the key term these days.
Well, I think one of the challenging thing is entrepreneurs have it tough because seemingly entrepreneurs are the type of people who don't fit into normal boxes. And they don't fit into normal boxes in any area of their life, and they never have. And that means school is I'm sure, very challenging for those people because they don't fit in that box. And even if they could fit in a box because they really wanted whatever that benefit that they knew that they could provide to society, to their clients, to their people. The hard part then is the people who are teaching business in schools frequently are people who failed at running businesses somewhere in their life, or they're an expert at running businesses, but they have no practical experience at running businesses because they're teaching the course about how to run a business. And I think that those handful of things really compound and give business owners, the entrepreneurs, a really challenging start and concept of what it is like to have and run their own business.
I agree 100%. And I probably spent a good 10 years trying to follow the gurus and trying to, and the problem with that again is that it's just a different box,
Hmm.
right? They're just trying to put you in their box. And I never really understood let me teach you how to run a business by selling you my business model, right? Like it's kind of this cycle that doesn't quite make sense. Um, but for me, it's when I create systems for my clients, it's about every person is unique, right? Like every business is unique. You want to build the systems that are unique to you, that put you and your team into the flow state. You don't want to create a box that you go into and you're like, ugh, I'm miserable. Like one of the things I think I struggled with was a lot of the gurus will say, you can make 10, 20, 50, 100K a month doing X, right? A lot of my clients, what happens is they do that and they do make the profit and they are successful, but then they get stuck in that box and they're miserable. And so it's one of the things we do is we help to back them out of the box and and still keeping the profits, right? Maybe just doing it a different way, but a way that is more unique to them and to their style, allows their creativity, doesn't stifle their creativity. A lot of times I see they get stuck in that box and they're so busy doing like admin tasks and things that they just hate doing, but they got to do it to keep everything running. And it's like, let's get rid of all of that so that the foundation of your business can run smoothly so
Well,
that you can then be creative.
well, and the tough thing about that is if you do whatever it is, okay, I'm gonna make 80K, okay, great, great, and you do all this, and you have a huge influx of customers and clients, but you don't have the systems in place to be able to manage them, they will be here today and be gone tomorrow because you don't know what to do with them. You have no way to actually process them. So I think that, like you're talking about, developing those systems as the foundation for the business to continue on. Without those systems in place, you very quickly will be asking everybody in your business, "Hey, what do we do now? What's next? How do we keep what are you doing? How do I, and being able to not only not have to ask those questions because everybody knows what their role is, everybody knows what the job is because they're following one system is essential to run that business effectively.
Yeah, and then it just makes it easy.
Mm, yeah.
Right. So then when you have that influx of customers, that exponential growth, right? That you went viral, whatever it is, and people start coming in the door, everybody knows exactly what to do. So they just flow right through, right? They start at A, they go B, C, D, E, right? Like all the way down the path. And your team knows what to do. It's easy and it's fun, right? Then it's fun versus chaos and stressful, and you've got so many customer complaints because that's broken and that's not working. They didn't get what they were promised. And, all of those things that you see it all the time.
Yeah. Now, Tracy, your expertise lies in helping overwhelmed entrepreneurs transform this chaos into clarity, which is really what we're talking about now. I wonder, can you walk us through a handful of practical methods that entrepreneurs can implement to try to reclaim those precious hours in their business? And then, what does this journey look like for a business that you work with as your service for them unfolds?
Yeah. Th- there are a few things that I start with any client and kind of recommend ongoing. I see so many business owners who are managing their businesses via email and like Slack or text,
Mm.
right? And it's overwhelming. Stuff gets lost, details get lost, tasks get lost. You can't find anything. You forgot to do that. You're a bottleneck because you can't get to all of the emails. You've got balls being dropped. You've got fire drills happening, right? Like all of those. If you've got any of those, it's usually because you need a work management tool. So that's the number one thing I would recommend is get it popcorn. Like right now, you've got your tasks, your communications, everything popcorning all over the place. Simplify it, combine it, put it into one task management tool. I recommend Monday.com. The reason I recommend Monday, I've probably used every project management tool out there. The team members love Monday. They love it. And so they use it. That's all I really care about, is that they're going to use it. They're going to go check every day to see what the tasks are. But with a project management tool, you put the tasks down and your team can communicate on those specific tasks within the software tool, meaning you have all communication, everything in one spot so that no balls are dropped. Right. And so you're able, and you as a business owner, if you keep that really simple and really manageable, at a glance, you can see exactly where your business is, exactly where your team members are, and what is happening. Literally, like right now, you can pinpoint what is happening within your business versus, I wonder what she's doing over there. Did she finish that? Is she on track with that? I don't know. Let's go ask, right? You don't even have to. You can just see right where that is. So that will save you time right there. And then learning some strategies, some tools to work with your team better. So just that learning. One of the things that I recommend, because I think a lot of people get stuck with, I'll just do it myself because it's easier to do it myself versus try to tell someone else how to do it. One of the things that I recommend is a screen capture tool. Like I use loom.com. But when I'm doing something, let's say I always use blog posts as an example, right? Because most of us have a blog. So you are going to do your blog, right? And you're going to go program it in, send out the email, right? All of those things for the blog for the week. So record yourself doing the blog, like week 1, today's Wednesday, right? So record yourself doing the blog on Wednesday. I click this button. I want this over here. I want the title here. I want you to bold right here. I want this section to be called out, right? Whatever that may be for you. I want the image here, right? Like I want you to hyperlink right here, right? All of those in there. Then what you do with your work management tool is you can then delegate that and you automate it so that every Wednesday you want your team member to go do that task of the blog post. You automate the task, you add the how-to video directly into that task. So anytime that team member is asked to do that task, they have the how-to video of exactly how you want that done associated with that task. I've had people who have gone out sick, gone out on vacation, had their honeymoons, right? We didn't even have to train anyone because we already had all of the how-tos already in the tasks. And so we didn't have to train new people coming in. We didn't have to do anything differently other than, hey, can you step up to get this one out, while she's out the next 2 weeks, or, whatever that is. So there's ways like that are just they're simple and they're easy. And it that doesn't take me any more time than it would have normally, right? Because while I was doing it, I created a video and then popped it into a task. And I now have that anytime. And when it changes, right? Because software changes all the time and the button's not there anymore, it's over here. The person on your team that is responsible for that just creates the new video and pops it in.
Yeah. Okay. So creating those standard operating procedures as you go, and then linking them inside the task is wildly helpful. I know in the business that I work at, we do that. We use Notion for that. I'm sure very similar, but we have it linked. Our standing operating procedure for whatever that task is linked inside the task, so it's always there and so easy to follow through with that. And what that does then is it allows that delegation to happen. And that means that the business owner doesn't have to do every single task, especially those admin tasks that are so easy to just push to somebody else, because then it frees that person up to do whatever it is that they need to be doing. And oftentimes the entrepreneur, the person who started the business, is the visionary. And if they don't have an opportunity to see where the vision of the next handful of steps are, if they're not steering the boat, or if they're not out there navigating where their boat needs to go to, and they're scrubbing the decks, who's driving the boat at that point? And that's kind of a tough situation that I know a lot of business owners are in right now.
Right. Well, we wear so many hats, right? And at some point, we need to move up into our business so that we can work, like you said, right? We can be steering the boat up here while we're able to see everything that is happening, right? And make sure that it's all happening, right? I think that that's a struggle too, is that we want to empower our team. but we've been burned so many times before because they didn't do it right, or it got screwed up, or they didn't do it, or, whatever that is. In my experience, most of the time, that is because you were not clear in your expectations of what the deliverable should be. Mm. Right. So being able to, like with the Loom video, this is literally exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. Right. Like that will help tremendously in giving you the freedom, the peace of mind to be able to do that. And I would start out, like, a lot of people are they do it all themselves because they know they're going to do it right. We hear that so often. And so one of the things that when I'm working with clients, a lot of times it's so funny because I'm like, we can take that off your plate, we can take that off your plate, and they're like, no, I'm the only one, right? And it's like, they've got to be ready to let go. But I would suggest letting go of, like you said, start with the admin tasks, right? Even if it's a 5-minute task that it only takes you 5 minutes to do it, it is 5 minutes that is now off of your plate. That you can then another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, and pretty soon you start to see a difference, right? Like it doesn't take long to actually see a difference when you're doing all of these things. And so it's really just clear with those expectations and just start with the admin. And if you're looking, I kind of think of it as in my brain, it's a pyramid, right? It's admin tasks. Get as many of those off of your plate as you can. Then the next level up would be fulfillment. The next level up from there would be marketing. The next level up from there would be sales. And then you would go to leadership. Right. And so if you kind of think about a lot of times it's, what should I delegate? Where do I start? Start on the lower level tasks, as well as lower level, the things that are painful. You don't want to do them anymore. The things, a lot of times what's painful for you is someone else's like happy place, right? Pass those off immediately, right? They'll probably do it better than you. Let's be honest, right? And so being able to do that, but start with those admin tasks, starts with the things that are easy to get off your plate, that are painful for you to do. It's not your skill set. You just don't want to do it, whatever those are, or just even the lowest hanging fruit. Like, I know that I could take this thing and give it to them and they would do it right first try, right? Like, go for it immediately, right? And do that over and over and over again until you start to free up your time, until you start to have that self-managed team. And that's where that work management system really becomes more important, because you're going to be delegating so much. You now, again, need to have that bird's eye view of what everyone is doing within your business. And you need to be able to track what that looks like and feel like you're in control and you know what everybody is doing and how it's all happening. And if something gets missed or something gets dropped, like that, and can get it fixed and changed and somebody else come and help and let's go get it done, versus like it just, the blog didn't go out. Why not? Right? Like those sorts of things that you are proactive versus reactive in everything that you do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Traci, I really like that you challenge that age-old adage of hard work equals success in a world that often glorifies the hustle. How do we help to convey the message that traditional hard work may not be the only path to success, right? What role does that strategic flow and alignment play in achieving the better results with less effort?
To me, I've been a hard worker. I say I'm a reformed hard worker. To me, hard work always meant my whole life. Like, I was proud of being a hard worker. And to me, like, I worked so hard that I was suffering. I was so miserable but I was working hard. Right. And I think that we just have that in our culture. And what if we were to look at it a different way? What if we could Have you ever had you're in the shower and this brilliant idea pops into your head,
Of course.
right? We all have. It's not when we're sitting at our computer doing 25 other things that brilliant idea comes. It's when we took a minute off to the side and we went and, right? Like we took a shower, we went for a walk, we meditated, whatever that is for you. It's when we take those breaks that's when the recharge comes in. That's when the amazing ideas, the brilliant ideas, the even the inspiration come in. With our businesses, what if it wasn't a badge of honor that we worked ourselves into the ground and then we wake up 30 years later, we never took time with our kids that we wanted to. We have all of these regrets about the life that we lived, but we worked hard, right? Like it doesn't quite, like I want a juicy life, right? Like I want like all the juice in every aspect. I want a successful business. I want time with my kids. I want time with my husband. I want time with my family. I want time with my friends. Like I want to travel. I want the juiciest life that I can get with all of the meaningful moments in it. I can't do that by working on a spreadsheet 24/7, right? Like that is not, and maybe you love spreadsheets. Maybe it's something else for you, right? But like the point is that there's a way to build that into your business. And if we looked at it different, what if we had a business where there was the person who loved spreadsheets was on the team, and the person who loved email marketing was on the team, and the person who loved doing all the admin tasks was on the team, and the person who loves customer support and connecting with our customers was on the team? And what if you, as the driver and the creative person, right, in the creative leader within the business, what if you were able to take those walks and take that time off and have a simpler time of things where your brain wasn't going a mile a minute all the time, and you actually had the time to breathe, to recharge, to create, to be inspired, right? Like all of those things. Like, so what if you had everybody in their sweet spot doing what they need? And my business is completely autonomous, meaning because we're so clear on our deliverables and what's needed, my team members can work whenever they want, as long as they're getting their deliverables on time when we need them, right? So they also get that time, whatever they need to do to recharge, to go take that walk, to relax. So I've got this group of people that work with me that love what they do and they've got a life. And what if, and it's lovely, right? And it's simple and they love what they do. We all love what we do. And and I don't think I work that hard anymore, right? Sometimes, right? Like sometimes stuff comes up and it's like, ugh, not what I want to be doing right now. And it needs to be done. For the most part, everything is running smoothly. It's running efficiently, and it's not hustle. It's helping people, right? And it's helping our clients and it's helping the people that we work with to create their own flow and their own efficiency. And everybody loves doing it. We're all inspired by it. We have the time off to go do the things that we want to do. And then we come together and we do the pieces that we love to do and that we're good at doing. And we all put them together to make this kind of beautiful organization. What if that's what we did versus the hustle and the grind and the, all of that? Like it's just, it's two different ways of doing it. And it's maybe if you stepped back a little bit and let people who love doing those pieces come in to do them, you change everything.
Well, okay, so I'm going to go in two different directions here. The first thing is okay, so we have the shower thoughts like you talked about. The best that I can understand, the reason those happen in times that we are in low effort, when we're out for a walk, or we're in the shower, or whatever, is because our brain is continually working to solve whatever problems it's presented. And we call it, like, so if you think about it like as a computer, that's going on in the background processes, like the RAM, the random access memory. That's happening all the time. Whether you are actively thinking about it or not, it's happening. The problem becomes if you are actively focusing on a really tough, other challenging task, all of your processes are being dedicated to solve whatever problem is in front of you at that given moment. But it's when those times we're away, when we can go for a walk or we're in the shower, that idea comes to us, or we solve whatever that problem is that we were focused on so tough. We could, but oh, it's in the shower. Oh, I just came to me this idea. Wow, it's because you took the time to quiet your mind. You took the time to allow your brain to recoup, to get back to zero. It can still work on those background processes just a little bit at a time, but it's not overwhelmed with whatever it is that's in front of you. So if we can structure into our day those opportunities to have a chance to step away from your desk, to go for a walk, not with your phone, because then your brain is in something else, but just go for a walk. Let your mind do whatever it's going to do. And those will be times you'll have some really creative things that'll happen. Those will be the times where you'll solve whatever those tough challenges are that are presented with you, because you're not actively focusing on them, because then all of your computer processes in your brain are being used at whatever it is. Let it relax. Let it calm down, get back to baseline brain zero normal functions, and it'll do some background processes. Magic will happen, and that's the best I can describe it as, is magic, because it does really happen like that. And it's
Yes.
wild that happens like that, but it's amazing.
It's fascinating, right? And I always say that with my clients, they scale naturally. Because what happens is, as soon as you clear out the clutter that's going on, just like you were saying, right, in their brain, of that constant motion, that constant getting stuff done, that constant barrage that is going on in our heads, the second that that's all cleaned up and they actually have the time, naturally the ideas start on that walk, the ideas start to come up, and they have the time to actually implement them now. And so they implement them. And so naturally you just watch the numbers and the revenues start to go up, because like just because they've got the time and to go for that walk and to not think.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now the second piece of this is, I think that it is, and I think you would agree, it is possible to have all the right people on your team and fail, because you have those people in the role that is not suited to best suit whatever their success is, whatever their ability is. You have the person who loves spreadsheets doing, cleaning the toilets. You have the person cleaning the toilets that they're everybody's in the wrong role. And that can be enough that the business can fail, because you have all the team players are there, but they're not doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing, the jobs that they're best suited at. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as the manager even, what can we do to help to place our team in the role that is best suited for them?
Really good question. So I think there's a few things that I've seen. Number one, with my team, I'm constantly asking them, do you like what you're doing? Would you like to do something else? Right? Like, a lot of times they're taking classes because they're interested in social media. If they're interested in learning that, come on, bring it, right? Like, yes, absolutely. I would love for you to jump in there and let's see what you got. Right. And so they're getting experience with that. I'm also getting someone who's excited and motivated and wants to learn working on my stuff. Right. And so I think that's huge right there, is shifting people around and saying, okay, you want to take this? We still need somebody to do this. Who can do this? I'll take it. Right. Like, it's constantly shifting. And I think that's okay. Right. As long as it's getting done, we still have the training so they can train each other, or we've got our videos, right, already in place that they know how to do something as soon as they get in there. But you need to, I do it on a quarterly basis with my clients and myself. But do an assessment. Do you have the right people in the right seats doing the right things at the right times? Right. And I use a red, yellow, green. But do they want it? Do they have it? And I'm blanking on the other one. But basically you want to ask, like, do they have the time to do it? right? Like, do they have the time to do their jobs? Do they have the ability to do their jobs? Do they have the capacity to do their jobs? Do they have the education to do their jobs? If any one of those are red, you need to be looking seriously at what it is. Do you have this person stretched too thin? Do you need to take something off of their plate? Or do you need to let them go so that they can go find what they're passionate about and you can bring someone else in who is passionate in here, right? Like, the firing is extremely hard and letting people go is extremely hard. And if they are not, they know they're not in the right role, just like you know they're not in the right role. Releasing them and letting them go lets them go find what they're going to be in love with and they're going to be passionate about. So let them go, right? And let them do that and have the strength and the courage to do that, but both for you and for them, right? But maybe maybe they're yellow and maybe it's like they need a class. Let's go find them a class, right? And let's go, bring that knowledge into them. So I think doing an assessment quarterly to see where your team is, how they're doing, how you're feeling about how they're doing, and asking them too, right? Like, are you liking it? How can we make it better? What do you need? Right? And they're humans. We're all humans here. Like, it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be like, we don't need to create a business where we now pull ourselves out, but everyone else is hustling and miserable, right? Like, let's just make a community where we're all working towards bettering humanity, right? And I think that we do that both internally and with our team and the people that we work directly with, as well as with our clients and our customers and everyone that we touch outside.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Bean here from the Prestigious Initiative. If you're looking to level up your life and unlock your full potential, I've got some exciting news for you. My recent guest, Joel Gandara, has an incredible program called 31 Days to Become a Better Man. Joel has packed years of life-changing insights into this easy-to-read book, guaranteed to help you rethink your shortcomings and redefine what it means to be a man in today's world. But that's not all. Joel also offers powerful one-on-one sessions and group classes to guide you on your journey. And he has a special offer for the Prestigious Initiative listeners. You can get $19.99 off the program when you use code PRESTIGIOUS at checkout. Don't wait. Take your first steps towards becoming the best version of yourself today. Visit 31dailychallenges.com and use the code PRESTIGIOUS for your discount. And now back to the show. Now Traci, you've mentioned the idea of this flow state as a secret weapon, especially for these entrepreneurs who are starved for time. Can you elaborate what this flow state is, and then how entrepreneurs can use this as their superpower, as their secret weapon to enhance their productivity and overall well-being?
Yeah. So think about the flow state. Flow state and alignment to me are interchangeable, right? So it's everything that's in its place. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everything is complete. So a flow state example would be you've launched a coaching program and you have a new client coming in, and the client purchases, and then they're added to a board where the team is notified and the onboarding person automatically schedules a call with the new client. They get on a call and they map out everything, that here's what you get, here's where you go, here's what you do. Do you have everything in place? Great. And if you have any questions, here's our customer support, email or text or messaging, whatever you have set up. And then they go in and then they go straight into the program and they go through the program and they have, let's say weekly calls. And so the reminders are for the weekly calls are already in there and they have everything, flowing. And you've got every Thursday, you've got a Q&A call. And so the email goes out that, submit your questions for the Q&A call. And so every time when you get in on Thursday, you've actually got the list right there in front of you on what's needed for that Q&A call. And then you've got this special gift that you give for people who go through your entire program. And so when they're getting towards the end of their program, they jump on a call with your sales team and they get the free gift, and they are offered a continuity package where they can continue on indefinitely working with you for a monthly X, right? And they reach out to customer support and customer support answers them right away. And like, you have created this flow state of like, everybody knows exactly what they're doing. It's all put right in front of them. The clients are ecstatic because they feel like they have been taken care of. They're not only going to sign up for your continuity package, but they're going to tell their friends and family, like, hey, this is an amazing program that you need to resolve. When an issue comes into support, it's an anomaly, right? Versus a norm, right? And so like you get to live in this world where everything just runs so smoothly, and then you've got time now, so all you had to do for that, because your onboarding person took care of that and your customer support people took care of that and your salesperson took care of that, you just need to show up on Thursday to do your Q&A, which you had right in front of you. So you have the time to go take that walk, right? You have the time to come up with some new ideas. You have the time to maybe that continuity program. Maybe you want to add another tier to that, which is a higher ticket tier, right? And you can put them in. But because they've had such an amazing experience here, they just flow right into the next phase, right? And you do that with your sales and your marketing at the front end too, right? So your marketing goes out like clockwork. You find what works and what doesn't. And so then that is a flow also, right? And so it literally, from the time they learn about you all the way through, it's a lovely, easy experience that everything has been set up 100% to just make it work for you and with you. And all of a sudden, everything is aligned. And so with that, if you've got a flow happening, you can just turn that fire hose on at the front end and it just flows. Or if it's maybe you want to take it down a little bit, you can turn that fire hose down and it can still flow through. And it's so you can ebb and flow with the seasons, with marketing, with what's happening, and everything is in alignment. Everything within is in the flow state. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody's happy with what they're doing. It's easy for them to do it. Everybody's happy, and then and you naturally can scale your business, and you scale within the flow state, and magic.
So that's the dream. That's where the entrepreneurs want to get to. And you said it, you nailed it. I think right on. The alignment, I think, is the key thing for that. And maybe moreover alignment, there might be like you need to have an idea of what it looks like to onboard your clients or customers or whatever it is. You need to have an idea of what it looks like from the onboarding to the customer to the returning customer or client, or however you want to interpret that. What are some specific practices or principles that an entrepreneur can adopt to really allow that dream of that flow state, of that perfect alignment of their business to turn into a reality?
The first thing that I would do is I would figure out what your critical path is, right? So there's a whole lot that we're doing that we probably don't need to be doing, right? Or that, I see a lot of times social media. They're getting nothing from social media, but they're spending 80% of their day creating posts or reels or, whatever it is. They're getting most from blogs or Facebook ads or, whatever that may be. So what I would do is I would pick kind of in each category, I would choose, and this is where you start, right? Is your critical path, because it's probably figuring out your critical path will probably fix 80%.
And okay, so just so I'm understanding correctly, the critical path is like the start from a client or customer or whatever into the business and what it looks like for them to go through the business?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's from start to finish, right? Critical path. But what I want you to do is I want you to pick one marketing effort that is making the biggest difference for you, right? So maybe it's Facebook ads. Okay, we've got Facebook ads. Then go into how do they find out about your business? It's the Facebook ads to the funnel, sales funnel, maybe, right? So then you've got the sales funnel where they're now learning and reading about you. And then you've got sales funnel where they click that button and they purchase. So now you've got the purchase page where they take the money, right? And then you've got from the purchase page, they go into the program, right? From the program, they do the program, right? For weeks, I'm saying services right now as the example, right? Like program, it could be a product that you're doing, right? But like the program. And then you've got from the program, you've got the completion, right? Whether it's a continuity program or you're just done with them, right? Every touch point, every aspect of those handful of items, optimize those 100%. Align those 100%. Make sure that most 100% of people that go through that critical path that you have, and you could have for marketing, you could have a blog, you could have Google ads, you could have social media, you could have all of those things. Pick the one that is doing the best first. You do the critical path. You can always add the others on as you go. Figuring out that critical path and looking at it. What are the touch points? What emails do they need to be sent? What texts do they need to be sent? What do we need to do internally so that Jane knows that Mary did that task, right? Like what is the notification that is needed so that when that client comes in the door, they've just purchased, who gets tagged or notified to go do the onboarding, and how does that work? How about we automatically send them the calendar invite so that they can sign up automatically, right? So the second that you figure out that critical path and you every single touch point, you just clean that up to where it is 100% in alignment, at least 80% of your business will now be aligned. And so you can clean up the other stuff, right? Like the outliers in there. There's some stuff you're probably going to realize, I don't even need to be doing this, right? Like it's not helping. It's not working how we thought it was going to work. Let's archive that and let's focus on that critical path, right? Like that's how simple it can be, right? Is you can literally simplify. And if you can get that, even that one path going, you might realize you don't need anything else because that is going so well for you.
So, okay, so a little bit of that is understanding the Pareto principle, where 20% of your efforts gives you 80% of your results on the other end, whether it's revenue or whatever it is. And then diving into that 20% and making it as best as possible along every avenue of approach. Like, this is going to happen, and and everything is detailed and specific and catered to give the consumer the best possible experience on whatever it is that they're getting. And through that 20% of your efforts then becomes the 80%, and then your business is doing so much better because you just flipped the Pareto principle backwards because you understood how it worked and then engineered it in such a way that it works for you as opposed to against you.
Got it.
Yeah, great. Very good. Now, all right, another key thing, I think, as far as the team goes, is often overlooked, is how the entrepreneurs can really get the full potential from their teams to further free up their time. We talked a little bit about this. I can imagine that business owners, entrepreneurs that are listening to this are starting to come around to the idea that maybe they can push some tasks off to their team. I think that struggle that entrepreneurs face is they know that their team members are not them. And I think that a lot of times the entrepreneurs are trying to carbon copy themselves into various positions or various people on the team. And when that doesn't happen, because we know that can't happen, doesn't happen that way, then they feel let down or like they've been wronged, or they, this person's, I have to fire them. And how can the entrepreneur better interact with that situation?
I struggled with this for quite a while because I was looking for the other me, right? There isn't another me, right? There's not another you. So what I have found is just to look at it differently. So I no longer try to find the me, because the me is the one that wears all the hats and can do all the things. And if I don't know how to do it, I go figure out how to do it. And right, like all of that. And I'm sure that there are other me's, and they're probably starting their own businesses. They don't want to work in my business because they're doing their own thing, right? And so what I found that actually works better, in my opinion, is to hire specifically for certain deliverables. So I hire someone specifically for email. I hire someone specifically, and that doesn't mean that it's a full-time, right? A lot of small businesses, we don't need a full-time person. But I will hire someone specifically for these jobs, right? They might grow into other jobs, which is happens quite a bit when you find someone good to hold on to them as tight as possible, right? But hiring someone like who loves email and can do your emails or your blogs or your copywriting. So, and that's where that task management board in Monday comes from. Also, right, is to be able to manage these people. But what I found is when you have you're clear in what you need, they're clear in the tasks that need to be done. Usually, they're an expert in that specific area versus all of the areas, and so you just get a better quality of them. You're hiring for this one task versus these 12 tasks to do.
And so really it's not about trying to carbon copy yourself. What you're doing is trying to find a better version of another person to do a specific part of your job, and not about, you don't need somebody else to do all of your job. You just need somebody else that's experienced, that has success in doing social media, and you put them into the role of social media. You put them into the role of email management and consumer relations or whatever those things are, but you put them into those roles that are best suited for them. And moreover than that, you hire based on the qualities that you need that role to be fulfilled on. And knowing what that role entails, you know, as the owner, as the person doing it, a lot of times at this day and age, you know the things that person needs. And you can then find a better version of yourself to do those things. I'm really trying to help that entrepreneur to sell and get them out of those roles and getting somebody else into that job. Because once you, as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, once you have the opportunity to look out and see vision for where your business is going, it is so much easier. Because when you're stuck, when you're stuck in the forest, all you see is the trees, and you need to be able to see the forest.
Yes, agree 100%. And it's to me in my brain, it's just I segment, right? And so there's it's almost like here's an email segment, right? That I need someone to come in and help me work on these. And me being me, and I think a lot of business owners, same thing, is they know what they need. Right. So if you can clearly communicate to this person that you've brought in to help with the email segment, you know what you need from them. And so if you are clear with your expectations, clear on what the deliverable is from them, number one, you've got what you need. And because you've hired that person that's good at that one thing, they're probably going to have some ideas to make it even better that you didn't know about, or you didn't have time to, or you didn't even have the interest in learning, those sorts of things, so that they can help you to optimize as you go. And again, it makes it easy.
All right. This is going to be a little bit different question, but I'm curious to know, with your background and things that you're doing now as a product manager and the business that you're in now, how much of those things that you learned working on business do you carry over and use in your day-to-day life? Like, I know for myself, I helped to set up the Notion system that we use at work as the task manager, where all the standing operating procedures and all that stuff is. But I also use Notion in my day-to-day life to get my own tasks done, to do my own journaling and reflection, all of that stuff. And I used my own system that I use for myself, and I tweaked and modified a little bit to work for the business. And I can imagine it going back and forth that way. So I guess my question is, as you, not just a standard entrepreneur, as you, how much of those things do you also adopt in your day-to-day life to get your laundry done, your grocery shopping, the day-to-day things that, a human in this day and age has to do?
Constantly. So I have 4 little boys. So I've actually created Monday boards for them, for their chores. So they check off their, tasks as they go of the things that they need to do. But, for me, I like a lot of times, so I'm a book nerd. Like I would rather be reading most of the time, right? And so I want to, but being a mom, right? Like all the stuff needs to get done, right? Like it doesn't just stop, right? My husband is amazing, and there's two of us and there's four of them, right? And so the systems and the process of kind of putting us into flow and alignment as well as a family, um, it allows me to, like, yes, the stuff gets done, but it gets stuff done easily and quickly so that we can go then do what we want to be doing, right? The reading or the going out or the, whatever it may be. And so I think that, I laugh because it's getting dressed in the morning. It's like an assembly line, right? Or having breakfast. It's an assembly line of, we get everything going for all four of them and then put it out. And it's the same every single day. As the boys are now getting older, it's like they just fall into that pattern also. So our mornings are very peaceful. They are not crazy. We're not trying to get out the door. I don't think my kids, they're now 8 through 14, and I don't think that they've ever been late for school because we just do the same things every morning and they know what to do. So now I don't even have to do it for them, right? Like they just do it. So in the alignment and the flow state goes into every aspect of your life and your business, and it just makes it so that the stuff that there's always going to be stuff that needs to get done, right? You need to do the laundry, you need to clean the bathroom, you need to cook dinner, right? Like all of those things. There's always stuff that needs to get done, and by putting everything into that flow state and into that system and into that alignment, it just makes it simple and easy and joyful, and it gives you extra time, right? Like we're not screaming to get out the door, right? We're not, get down, hurry up, like there's none of that, right? So it's lovely.
Well, and the nice thing about that is, and this is whether you're an entrepreneur or just you just have a normal job and you're working for somebody, if your home life is out of whack, let's say, as opposed to saying out of balance or out of harmony or in alignment with each other, um, then work is also going to be challenging because
Mhm.
those things flow back into each other. And if work is challenging, then that's going to carry over to the home life. And if you can have those challenges all ironed out because you have the systems and you fall back on those systems and you are aligned with how your family wants to operate and the business is aligned with how you want the business to operate, then everything works in harmony with each other. Everything's aligned with each other. Then that flow is easy to flow from mom into business owner and then business owner back into mom. While you are the same person, but the intentions of each are not the same. The systems are not the same. But to be able to move from one to the other back and forth in a harmonious way because of the systems that are in place is essential. And without those things, without those systems in place, if one thing is chaotic, then that leads to the other being chaotic, and it can go either or, but neither of which is good for the business.
Or for you,
Ah,
or your team, or your family, or like all of I always say there's no such thing as work-life balance,
correct.
right? Like it's all
Yes.
life. It's
Yes.
all life. And it needs to ebb and flow, right? Like you've got a sick kid, they're staying home today. Okay. So now, right. So like there will be those things that come up, right? There's a client who's upset over what, right? Like it happens. Like, and being able to come at it from a state of Zen is the word that's coming to me, but it's not that. It's a confidence where, like, it's that Superman pose, right? Where the feet are on the ground, you're confident, you're comfortable. It's not like something happens and then everything else goes crappy. It's like something happens and you deal with it,
Mm, yes.
right? And so it's coming at life, from life and business, from that state of like, I got this. We're good, right? And creating and building and like living from that perspective and from that intention, I think, is everything.
Agreed. Agreed. And Traci, I gotta say, what a wonderful conversation we've had today. I want to thank you for your time, your energy, and the key insights that you shared. And do you have any key thoughts that you would like to leave our listeners with?
I think the thing that I see the most often that usually turns people off right away from doing this, because whether you know it or not, you do have a system in place. It may be a chaotic system, it may be a crazy system, but it is something that you're doing over and over again that are probably just unhealthy habits that you have. You got to go through the muck. You have to go through the habits that you've already formed and clean those up. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's like, I didn't know that was still in the fridge, right? Like those sorts of things, right? That I thought I cleaned that out. And so just keep going, I guess is my point to that. Is you're going to find stuff that is unflattering, that is uncomfortable, that is not what you thought or what you wanted. It's all okay. It is all okay. But take the time to clean it up and to, like, let's just, instead of having it lingering in the back of your mind, or, that whatever it is, keep going. Like when you see that, just do that one thing, clean up just that one thing, and then do the next thing, and then do the next thing. It doesn't have to be this massive overhaul, but you do have to keep going. And so I see a lot of people that they'll kind of butt up against it, and they're like, this is too uncomfortable, I don't like it. And then they back away and keep doing what they've been doing. And so it's really just, it is a commitment. And so you're going to feel uncomfortable. Know that going in, and keep pushing, keep going in order to create that flow state and to get your business and your life into alignment.
And if our listeners wanted to find out more about you or get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, they can go to my website, goaldi.com, GOALDI.com. And there's information there that they can do. They can connect with me. I'm happy to talk to anyone. If you need some time, like, hey, this is happening, I don't even know what system would I put into place to fix this. I'm happy to jump on a call and talk to you about it and help you get into alignment with that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And listeners, if you found today's episode as inspiring and motivational and helpful across all the areas of your business as I did, be sure to contact Traci to get in touch with her to find out more about that. And again, listeners, I want to say thank you for listening. And this is Chris Bean signing off.